few of our top guys. And if those guys are doing it, what do you think everybody else is going to do, right? So I think that's a big challenge for you, Becker, is that, you know what, and like he said, it's not just for you, it's for them. You know what I'm saying? They're going to watch you, and they're going to respond based on you. And y'all also need to be there for him as well. You know? Hey, you got this, Beck. That ain't shit. We're moving forward. All right? So that's just a challenge that we need to take on as individuals and as a team. Was there anything else out of those 4 questions that y'all wanted to discuss? There was one last thing I wanted to discuss outside of that, though.
The best student athlete I can be.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah, okay. So, one more thing before we get to that. I think strategy is a really important thing, not only in a 24-hour game plan, but also in a match. And I think that's something that really could help each person here. I think, you know, each person brings a different game to the table, and based off your talents and your approach and your mindset throughout a match, and based on your smarts, I think helps you be that good of a competitor. So I think we regularly need to talk about strategy. And what I mean by that, we call it football IQ, so tennis IQ. You know, do you make the right decisions in the right time? If you're, and I can only put it in football terms, if I'm down by 7 going into halftime, I'm going to approach things differently. If I'm up by 21, I'm going to approach things differently. I'm going to run the ball, run out the clock. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I want y'all to, Stu, I'll let you go first. Was there any points or parts in the match strategy that we didn't have the right strategy for, maybe, that you wish that maybe we would have done something a little bit different? And don't be afraid to call someone out. Everyone's on the same, you know, level playing field. It's just all of us sharing. You think about this as a round table. And the only way I can get better is if you tell me how I need to be more strategic in certain areas. Does that make sense? Is there an example that you can bring up just from this past weekend?
I know there's a good one with me.
Okay. So share it.
5-4, serving for the first set, up 40 love, which is, I need 1 more point to get the set. And I went into those next 4 points I didn't really have a game plan for that point. My game plan was like, okay, win this point, or okay, I'm gonna, like, if I don't get this point, I can get the next point. But like, I needed to, like, all right, I'm gonna run this play so I get this shot so I can finish the point here, and then I get the set.
So that would have been the game plan.
That's what it should have been. I should have had just like planned it out more of what I needed to exactly do, and not just plan out, okay, this entire point I'm gonna win.
Right. Because I think overall, it's good to keep it simple and say 1 point at a time, right? To have that type of focus so that you stay positive throughout the match. But like he said, it's also good to kind of plan and have a game plan as the match goes up and down and changes. Does that make sense? Does anybody else have a strategy they might have been able to share that would be helpful?
Well,
and it can be a positive one too. It doesn't have to be just one that you messed up. It could be one that you felt helped you, because that's what this is all about, helping one another strategically.
Well, a positive one I saw from one of my teammates was Nico. I mean, we all teams saw it. Like, every match he played, one thing that George talked to me about, like, he came up to me, he's like, damn, like, he's changed from last year. He freaking wants it. And what we all saw is that he played every point like it was the last one. And I really want to give him that. We're a little sick. And then one negative one about me. I mean, I was really working on coming forward more and trying to play more aggressive, and this was like the perfect opportunity for me to do that. And I completely froze during like my first match. I mean, I completely went away from that, and that hurt me because all I cared about was winning, and that just screwed me over. So I wish I looked at things differently, and that would have helped me win actually, instead of hurting me.
Anybody have maybe some advice how he could change his strategy? You know, I can speak for myself. It's like, you know, I think we all have something in common, that we all are great competitors and we want to win. And sometimes your strength becomes your weakness, you know? So I think you got to remind yourself that I'm only going to allow my strength to be a strength of mine, and don't allow that, you know, fire to burn you down instead of build you up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as you have that self-talk, remind yourself, my strength will only be my strength. And same thing for you, Becker. I think at some point your strength becomes your weakness. Your passion, your fire, you use it against yourself too often. And I think as you do that, you got to tell yourself, and probably you as well, just watching your fire. I think we got to learn how to talk good to ourselves and say, my strength will only be my strength.
Yeah.
I know I do it all the time. And you literally have to tell yourself that. Anybody else?
For Danny?
Or just the strategies?
Just one example. I think George and Ryler already touched on it, but like you were like, I really want to win. I was focusing too much on winning. Like it's need to, like you said, point by point, or play by play, like whatever it is.
Yeah, like I felt like I was trying to prove myself, and like I don't know, just like my first match with my new team, and I was just thinking about so much, just trying to like just do it, just like I completely just went away from what I needed to actually do, and that hurt me. And I feel like I completely bounced back after that, and I learned from it, and I'm happy I learned from it.
I think the biggest help for me for competing well that weekend, for the most part in my opinion, was when we had that private meeting, which was my mindset that was going into the match. And I remember you telling me that, all of us had been working our asses off all week and stuff like that. So when it comes to game day, we're going to show off, like, whatever we do in practice, we're going to all let it out. At the end of the day, win or lose, obviously we want to win, but we're going to put everything we practice, all the habits we've done on the table. If it gets us a W, then great. If it gets us, either way, we win or lose, we're still going to learn something from it and get better. And throughout that whole weekend, that was my mentality, and I think that helped me no matter what the score was. If I was down or up, I was just like, I'm going to put it all out there, I'm going to give it my best effort.
It's a tough thing to do, man, to be able to trust and have peace of mind in your work ethic. But the truth is, if y'all are demanding it of one another throughout practice, Nico, you should be able to go into a match feeling that way, and that's good. Is there anything else, he had said that you're a different tennis player. Do you think there's anything else that maybe has benefited you or helped you and might be able to help them? Besides a whole year of practice?
Yeah, like I said, I could definitely relate to Danny, being a freshman last year, and also the other freshmen is, last year I tried to prove myself. I was nervous on the court, I couldn't get it out of my head. Felt like I should be winning every match, and that's what I was there for, and it just caught up to me in my head, but I talked about it. I made the same mistake over and over again, and I ended up losing over and over again. And I talked to George like the end of the year. He's like, what are your plans for the summer? And knowing myself, it might be different for everyone else, but knowing myself is, I'm just going to take a break. I'm going to clear my mind, clear my thoughts, focus again on my priorities, why I'm here, my goals. And I think that was a big step for me, and it's just it comes down to like what your priorities are and what you really want, and to focus on the process rather than the results too much, which was a big deal for me. And
I think that's basically what he was saying, that maybe you were thinking about the results too much. Instead of just keeping it simple. One practice at a time, one day at a time, one play at a time, one point at a time. And then we get the results we want. What was the next question that we want to discuss? Did you have something you wanted to start off with?
What is something that can be the best student athlete? I think what you said, that the time management. Like I literally feel like I don't have time to myself the whole day. Like I'm leaving the day we have workouts. I'm leaving our dorm at 6. And we all get back, all 4 of us get back to the room at 9:30.
Yeah.
I feel like I not waste time, but I feel like I can get so much better at managing my time. That's probably the main thing for me.
So what I want to do is, I want you to literally put together, you could do it on notebook paper, it doesn't have to be special, but literally have your own notebook paper for a Monday, for a Tuesday, for a Wednesday, and I want you to go through and literally put what you're going to do throughout that. And, the details are up to you. And if you'd like to come meet with me individually, I think this is honestly something better for the freshmen, because I think this is something that's overwhelming when you're a freshman. You're like head spinning when you first get here. I think as you stay here, you learn to manage your time. And it's funny, you won't believe me, but your life will actually become more chaotic as you get older. Um, you know, you'll end up working 80-hour weeks and then going home to a family, and that never ends. You know, I haven't found my queen yet, so I'm able to be selfish when I go home. But, you know, I work with a lot of guys who work 80-hour weeks, and then they've got to go home and wipe their face off and say, be a dad to 3 children and be a great husband to a wife. So it's like you're on at all times. So my biggest thing with that is I can help you manage your time, but I think you need to get into the mode that now you're an adult. Y'all are grown men now, and like it, love it, hate it, that's just what it is, man. Like, you have to learn to embrace the fact that you're taking on a challenge and that, you know what? You're a grown man now. You're not able to play at the playground till the lights go out. Now it's time to be a man and do what men do. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm going to help you manage your time, but it's also getting an understanding that, you know what, this is my life now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it has to come from me.
I think at the end of the day, you're going to realize, okay, I do have a little more time here and there to whatever, hang out with my friends, hang out with a cute girl I met in chemistry class, whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying? But I think you also got to buy into no self-pity, you know what I'm saying? I think we can really, like, feel like, oh, poor me, and that does nothing for your life, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be special, if you want to be great, you have no time to say, poor me. Poor me, my schedule sucks. Poor me, I've got too much work. Poor me, I don't have enough time to have fun. You know, that just comes with the territory, man. If you want to be special, you got to do shit that other people don't do. And it sucks because you have your friend who's in on the tennis team, and he seems like he's having a great time. But the truth is, you're making more memories and making your life better by doing this stuff than hanging out with him at Rounders 5 nights a week. I promise you. All that stuff is not going to be lasting. Because the truth is, he's probably wishing he was you. And that's just human nature. The grass is always greener across the street. The guy that you're looking at saying, man, he hangs out hot girls every day, parties every night, he's saying, shit, I wish I was a tennis player at Alabama instead of doing this stupid stuff every night. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think it's, stop pitying yourself, you know? I think we're grown men now. It's time to do what grown men do. And the truth is, your schedule's going to get even worse as you get older.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, you have the most time you'll ever have. Now that you're in a new chapter, you've got to learn how to manage it, which I'm going to help you with. But the truth is that schedule's going to become tougher, you know? Your responsibilities are going to become heavier. That's just the nature of the beast, becoming a man. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sir.
Anything else? Anything else that we need to discuss?
Yeah, just like something like kind of like going back like this past weekend and just kind of like something to look at. Like something I've struggled with is like just being like kind of like a competitor. I've always like looked across the net to like whoever I'm playing, and I don't know. I've always just thought like, damn, like you know, I know like a lot of guys on the team like can relate to this, but like I look across the net and I'm like, damn, you know, I'm a better athlete than this kid. I have better coordination. I'm faster, stronger. Why am I losing? Why is he kicking my ass? Like if we go any other sport, like I will beat his ass, but tennis, he's kicking my ass right now. Why? And I mean, I figured out that like even though like you can be stronger, faster, just as good as a competitor, I think that like being smarter, being like a smarter tennis player, makes like a world of a difference. Like when I like my freshman year, when I went on the court, I kind of was just like, shit, you know, I'm just gonna hit hard, you know, just be competitive, be an athlete, come to the net, you know, do my thing, and you know, hope I win. And I think like from this summer and going into this my sophomore year, I've kind of taken like a new approach, and like I think like a lot of guys on the team have done the same thing, but like if you like actually like be very, it's like with strategy though, it's like if you are disciplined about like what you do on the court, like while you're playing matches or practice, like for an example, if you like something I've like tried to work on is like I'm gonna go on this court and I don't really care what happens, I'm gonna go 4 heavy balls to the backhand followed by an inside in rip. And that's what's going to happen every single point. And I think that like even though even if like doesn't happen, it's still like transformed my game little by little, and like it kind of makes me like wonder like these guys are like smart tennis players, like that's probably why they're winning all these matches, you know?
No doubt.
Like that's like what I think we're missing. A lot of us are missing.
Yeah. And I think that's something why I wanted to bring up strategy, and I'm glad you said that. I think one way that we can become better and have more tennis IQ, like I said, football IQ, tennis IQ, is watching each other play more. Watching, whenever the Open comes on or whatever match comes on, watching tennis together. If y'all can get together once a week and watch a match and say, hey, what is he doing right? What is he doing wrong? And share with each other the ideas. You already like to watch tennis, so why not go through it? It's just film study is all it is. Like, if I watch football with another coach, we're going to talk about strategy the whole time. Man, why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? Oh, I like how he did that. Oh, I like that play. I dislike that play. You know what else they should try here? Then, boom, we're on paper, drawing up plays, doing things like that. I think that's one way that y'all could really help yourselves individually and as a team, so that when it comes to game day or match day, if you are watching and bringing that energy, you're also watching and saying, hey, Stu, backhand, whatever, telling him what he needs to hear, reminding him, hey, this is going to help you, you know what I'm saying? And I think back and forth, it's going to help your tennis IQ out. All it is extra reps. I read a book called Outliers, and all that is when you stand outside the crowd, you stand alone for a good reason. And there's a 10,000 hour rule. It says when you do anything for 10,000 hours, you've basically mastered it. And it talked about people playing the piano, the people in the symphony that played the violin, played the piano. Why were they so great? It's because they started playing the violin and the piano at age 4. And they practice 5 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours a day. And by the time that they're 18, 20, 22, they've logged 10,000 hours, And it's crazy, but it's true. There's a reason why. So I think for yourselves, one way that y'all log hours and stand out and develop that belief is by actually hitting it, right? And doing it. But another way that you can log hours is by watching it and visualizing it and saying, feeling, how does that backhand feel coming off my racket? How's that serve feel coming off my racket? Literally visualizing that. There's studies that say visualization really benefits. They've had 2 test groups. One shoot free throws for a week, one visualize it, and one not do anything. The people who visualized it actually had better results than the team that was shooting it, and way better than the team that didn't do anything. So I think you can at least help yourself by logging some hours, not only by yourself, maybe you're with a couple of your teammates, and y'all talk strategy throughout the entire match, to where when our matches come, it's like y'all are all coaches on the court. I think for Coach George and Coach Riley, I think that's the ultimate goal, to get y'all thinking like a coach, so that when you're on the court, when they come to give you some advice, you're saying, hey, what are you thinking? I'm thinking this. And they might be like, you know what, that's a good idea, or you know what, that's what I was going to say, or you know what, this is what I was going to say. You see what I'm saying? I think for me, and I know more so as a football coach, my goal, and I always tell the football guys, watch film as if a coach would. Break down an opponent as if a coach would. You know what I'm saying? And that's something y'all could teach me. I don't know. Do y'all break down y'all's opponents the way we break down our opponents? Maybe not. Maybe so. Maybe it's something y'all could do moving forward, But I think the truth is, if I'm going to compete with Stu, in order to beat him, I want to know every last thing about him. I want to know what pisses him off, what makes him throw a racket, what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are. And the same thing goes in football, and that's what we do from a football standpoint. So that's something for y'all to think about moving forward as far as strategy goes. If I can't log 10,000 hours playing because my feet might fall off, maybe I can log 10,000 hours watching it and discussing it with my teammates. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that when I bring energy, maybe I can't just bring energy, maybe I could bring some advice too. At the very least, it's going to help your game out, and we're all about doing things that's going to help our game out. So I think another goal moving forward is whenever a match is on, either watching with a teammate or watching it collectively. Like if a big match is on, hey, let's get together, order some wings or whatever, and watch a match together. And not just talk about the cute girl in chemistry class, let's talk a little tennis too. Does it make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
We good to go?
Sure.
Just one more thing though about like the belief stuff is like a lot of the guys that when they go on the court, I don't know about these guys yet because I haven't been on the court, obviously competing with them. But a lot of them go on the court thinking, oh, this guy's so good. Like it's just a name. Like you're going out and playing him. Like I remember Langford back in like 16s. He couldn't like I used to talk to him about it, and he told me like he was because everyone saw that he was good, but he could never beat anybody like really good. And he finally did it, and he thought he belonged. He started having results, and just a lot of I don't know about these guys yet, like I said, but like oh this guy's so good. Like they all use the bathroom the same way we do. They do the same stuff we do. So why not? Like why can't we beat them?
Yeah, I agree with Corey. I literally think that's the biggest issue.
They're all
we have
names.
on this
It doesn't
team.
matter if it's Georgia, if they're number 1 in the country. Like, it's just a name, number, name. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree.
I love what you just said, man. I'll share something with you, and this stays in the room. I coached 5 years of high school football. Can you turn that off? Because I don't want anybody to.
Yeah.